Hey folks, it's Van Kraken here. Welcome to our Wednesday night World of Warships Legends stream. Coming to you a little bit later than planned because we had a fun night of soccer with my older daughter, whose team has made it as a first seed to their district playoffs for the end of the season. So hoping to get things in before disease strikes and shuts everything down, as times are a little bit tougher here COVID wise in Idaho, but hope things are happy and safe where you are and productive. I hope you had a good 3 days off if you wound up taking that between the Veni Vidi Vici campaign and the new Steel Redeemer campaign. Um, I did take those 3 days off, but I really spent it just grinding World of Warships PC because I really want to get the anchorage in the Dockyard Challenge that's currently going on this month on that side of the fence. So anyway, I'm going to spend a few minutes tonight just setting up the Benham campaign, Steel Redeemer, and give you some sense as to how I'm going to go about tackling this. I think what you're going to find is that this campaign is absolutely 100% worth doing. I don't think it's going to take a huge chunk of your time to knock out these objectives. And if you're a strong player who likes high damage scores and high achievement scores, you actually can complete this campaign in 4 weeks instead of 5. So we'll talk about that in a second, but let's go ahead and jump into what this campaign is going to look like this time. So Steel Redeemer for 2,500 doubloons is going to provide you a lot of value if you do the Admiralty backing. So not paid by WG, but I can just tell you as I accumulate each of these really cool premium ships from these campaigns, I'm not regretting having done one of them. A lot of really good things that you're going to collect. First thing across the bottom, if you don't do Admiralty backing, it's the first column without. You're going to get a decent amount of boosters and crates and other cool things like credits and so forth, 250 doubloons, 7 days of premium time. But if you follow the bottom row of the chart there with Admiralty backing, the cool thing is that you not only get basically 1.6 million credits, you get a number of good commander goodies like promotion orders, insignia, commendations. Again, 7 days of premium time, and you get an additional 750 doubloons. So if you look at my chart over on the right hand side, if you convert the average cost of doubloons, take the middle package, not the most expensive, say $40 a doubloons, gets you 11,500. You convert that to dollars per doubloon, you multiply that out by your 2,500 Admiralty backing cost in doubloons, but you subtract out that 1,000 doubloons that you get back if you complete the 4 to 5 weeks of the campaign. You're only spending 1,500 dubs, which is about $5 US, €6 from my calculation, to get a tier 6 premium ship that in the shop for tier 6s still cost you over $50. So why would WG make this so cheap? Well, I really think this is about sampling the game. I work in the retail business. When we sample product, gets product in people's hands, the more they use that product, the more they enjoy it, the more likely they're to continue buying it from you in the future. And I think that's exactly the way these missions and campaigns are working. Get a cool uh, campaign design as this, get a nice reward at the end. You don't have to spend a lot of time, but you do play consistently over the 4 to 5 weeks of the campaign. So that builds player population for the game. I think it entices you, as it does me, to buy premium time, which makes these grinds easier. Again, you can accumulate hundreds of dollars in premium ships with not all that much effort. And if you enjoy playing the game anyway, divide all of the time that you spend into that dollar cost for, say, premium and this Admiralty backing, which is a small amount, you're going to find it's a pretty low cost per hour of fun. At least that's how I look at it. So we're looking at October 5th through November 9th. Again, this could take you 5 weeks. It could only take you 4, depending on how things work out. I didn't mention all the cool crates you get on the right-hand side. And obviously, with the Admiralty backing, you take home the Benham. So the tip is, the lower right-hand corner is, getting Benham is going to make every future mission easier. Because we'll talk about how in the endurance phase of these trials, the stacking power of using a premium ship can help you get through these campaigns quicker. And now I have a number of ships that I just bounce between that I've won in the prior campaigns that make these grinds easier and easier each time. So I highly recommend doing this campaign. Think it's worth your 2,500 doubloons actually only 1,500 doubloons after you get your 1,000 doubloons back from completing all the objectives. So the design this time, pretty doable requirements. If you take the 5 weeks of Weekly Havoc and you get 400 renown per week, you'll find that over 5 weeks gets you 2,000 renown, and you need 1,975 renown to complete the total campaign. So you don't have to do any of what are called the hardcore missions, which are back. Those will net you an additional 500 renown. So if you completed, well, it will net you more than 500 renown if you complete all of them, I believe. But if you get 500 worth of renown from hardcore, you only need to actually complete 4 weeks of the Weekly Havoc missions, and you'll be done a week early and can just skip out or play other games or just do what you want to do. But on the left-hand side, the Weekly Havoc missions, this time they must be completed on time. Each week you have to finish the requirements before the time expires. But there's only 4 steps in the endurance, which is really cool. And you can use tier 3 to tier 7 ships. First one is super easy, win a battle for 25 renown. You can do that in AI or in randoms, standard battles. So obviously you're gonna jump into AI and knock that out in one battle. 90+% chance you're gonna win an AI battle. So that's a quick way to get your first mission knocked out each week. 800,000 credits gets you 50 renown, not too hard to earn. 10,000 XP sounds like a pretty big number, but that's after modifiers are applied, so it's not the base XP challenge we had last time, which is a lot tougher for goal 3. And then the fourth is earn 900 global XP, which is pretty easy again if you stack bonuses, first ship wins, stuff we'll talking about in a minute. Shakedown, which are locked by the endurance trials, can then be completed concurrently. You have to hit enemy ships with torpedoes 15 times, hit the citadel of enemy ships 15 times, start 15 fires, destroy 15 ships. You can do this again in AI or standard, and you can knock these things out pretty quickly. The one thing is you'll have to probably use different types of ships to get these done efficiently. Torp missions, obviously, you're going to want to use destroyers, so you'll play those for number 1. I actually prefer cruisers just as much as battleships for the Citadel missions. There's a way you can do that in AI pretty quickly with a lower tier, like mid-tier 4, tier 5, sometimes tier 6 cruisers. And from my opinion, I'm a cruiser main. That's a pretty easy thing to do with certain types of cruisers against AI ships. Start 15 fires, really easy if you've got an HE spammer. And destroy 15 ships, you'll be doing that while you're completing missions 1 through 3 and maybe cleaning up a little bit after that. So again, Weekly Havoc is going to be very, very doable this time. I think it's going to be easy even to do with tech tree ships. So if you don't have that first campaign ship, you're just starting out now, or it's been too much of a hill to climb, you haven't had the time to invest up until now, I would highly recommend jumping in and doing this set of missions in this campaign for Steel Redeemer, because you're going to get Benham coming out the back end. We'll talk about her as we're loading into the game, but she is a torp soup reward. She has more torpedoes than the average American destroyer. So she's going to be a good reward, and the first destroyer reward we've had in quite a while. On to just a question, are you planning out your campaign grinds? So are you just playing your favorite ships? Are you just using tech tree ships? You're going to get 7 days of premium in this campaign, so you can use premium time along with boosts you win from daily missions to help accelerate your progress during the endurance phase of these campaign steps. And then also, do you rotate your ships to collect first win bonuses? If you think through each of these things, you're gonna get your missions done a lot faster. You're gonna have time again to step out and play other games, get some lifetime back with your family, which is what I'm about, or to go ahead and play other ships and progress up your tech tree lines, for instance, not feel like you're trapped in just grinding. So lastly, before we jump in and do some battles, just consider how you should go about, in my opinion, attacking endurance, which is the first column there, where you get stackable bonuses, and then how you approach shakedown missions. So in the Weekly Havoc, the endurance missions, again, all about stacking premium time if you've got it, or if you've won it from any of your prior mission rewards from your renown. Battle mode, AI is going to be the way to knock out that first battle, that first goal, number one, where it's just win a battle. I would definitely do that in AI mode. But if you need to get credits, if you need to get XP, you're always going to get a boatload more credits, no pun intended, from standard mode. So I would suggest standard mode, even if you're a newer player and it's tougher. Just go ahead and gut that out, and you'll find that your progression is a lot quicker. Choosing a tier during endurance, obviously mid to higher is better. You're going to get higher XP scores and credit scores from higher tier games. Picking the right ship for the mission type is also important, but not in endurance. So, and also the best type for the type of mission required is not going to matter in endurance. It's just a ship that you do well in that you want to pick, because you want a high XP score. You're not trying to hit torpedo hits or main battery hits or anything like that. So those two things are not going to apply in endurance, but a premium ship, if you have it, is going to help. So that's why, again, if you don't have a premium ship like Benham, grab it this time, move on to the next set of missions, and you'll find that as the next campaign pops up, you're going to progress a lot faster having this premium under your belt. And then lastly, use your boosters. So I have a lot of triple boosters hanging around already from my daily missions and from past campaigns, but you can convert your lower star boosters into higher star boosters to get bigger bonuses. So use those if you can during the endurance phase. But don't use those during the next column, the shakedown phase. Take those off because they're not going to help you with the things like hitting citadels or hitting torpedoes or starting fires or destroying ships. You don't need to use your bonuses during the shakedown column, so don't waste them unless you're using those boosters to progress up a tech tier line while you're doing shakedown. Just pick the best ship for the task. So if it's a torpedo mission, pick a DD. If it's a fire mission, pick a cruiser. If it's citadel hits, pick a cruiser or battleship. And then pick the best ship in that class for that type of thing. So cruisers could range from armor-piercing cruisers to fire starters like Atlanta. So I will definitely take Atlanta out to set my 15 fires. So pick the right ship within a class to get that specific thing knocked out, and you'll just progress faster. Hey KD, good to see you in the chat, buddy. I'm just going through a quick intro to how I'm gonna attack these missions for this week and really trying to get to this Benham goal as quickly as possible with as little effort as possible. And last thing down at the bottom is rotate your ships. You want to get your first win bonuses each time you can, because again, that's going to stack with the other bonuses during endurance to get you done quicker during the endurance phase, which is going to be, for some people, the tougher part of the challenge, and other people are going to have a tougher time with shakedown, depending on what type of ships they like to run. All right, so let's hop out and into battle. So we're at 0, well, stage 1. I'm going to go ahead and purchase my Admiralty backing right now. 2,500 is the cost. Again, just well worth it in my opinion. So that's going to allow us to earn both the upper and lower line of goodies as we progress through these challenges. All right. And again, first step of endurance is going to be win a battle. So I'm actually going to spend this first battle in AI mode. Any ship over tier 3 is going to do. I have a favorite fun ship, which is Königsberg, which is actually one of my secret ships for getting citadel hits. So I'm going to take Königsberg out to get my first win, hopefully in AI, and knock this out as quick as possible. going to be on New Dawn. Let's maximize our screen here a little bit. Got a new computer set up, and I think I have most of it wired to be streaming again. It's fun getting a new computer, but it's almost more work to get it all set up than you realize. All right. What are we looking at? Don't have to worry too much about team composition because it is an AI battle. And my strategy is pretty straightforward for all of these AI battles. I just basically steer straight at the enemy team until I detect the enemy ships, and then I kind of cut across their path. So I'm not so far in front of my team that I basically take all the fire. Again, we're not trying to get any specific type of mission requirement done here other than getting a win. But that Emerald would be a fantastic ship to get Citadel hits on if we were in the Citadel hit portion of our missions. In fact, we'll see if we can demonstrate that. So when I say cut across the field of fire, now I'm just going to work left to right. Got 3 ships targeting me, so kind of stay on the move and be evasive.
Concentrate fire on the enemy warship.
DD off to our right, so we'll shift fire over to him. Okay, gonna switch back to the Emerald. No, we have a Farragut on the other side. We're taking more damage than anybody else because we're out in front, essentially. We're moving away from the DDs, so not too likely we're going to take torpedo hits from them. And I'm going to go back to armor piercing, see if I can get... Emerald's already been pretty worn down. Say, if I were going for Citadel hits like that, I would have just focused the Emerald from the very beginning and just worked on him for Citadel hits. But we still got one even kind of without trying. So, got an Emil. That's also a possibility for Citadels too. Tougher to Citadel than the Emerald though. Definitely tougher side armor than Emerald has. Emerald's about as weak as they come. Königsberg's not bad for torp hits either. We could just rush these battleships with her when they're distracted with targets that are on the other side of their field of fire, for instance. Get torpedo hits. It's one of the cruisers I'd probably use. If I were going to use a cruiser for torpedo hits, but I will definitely shift to destroyers to get those part of my shakedown missions done. And all we're going for in this game is the win. One more battleship to burn down. Actually, let's see if we can do a torp run on him. KD, I hope you're doing well, buddy. Had a good weekend and are starting out a good week. Running a course cutting across the Orion's path. He is occupied with ships on the opposite side.
All stations, protect that target.
Let's see what happens if we launch some torpedoes. It has 2 racks on each side. So again, not a bad little ship to get torpedo hits, to get citadel hits. She's really versatile. Okay, bots are really good at evading torpedoes generally. So we're gonna go ahead and increase our chances with some torps from the other side. Actually, we got some hits there. Okay, we knocked out 5 torpedo hits. A citadel, 60,000 of damage. All in a co-op game, so that's the beauty of Königsberg for knocking out shakedown missions. Sometimes if things just aren't setting up right for you in random battles, when you get to shakedown phase, you can run AI and knock out your goals in the AI missions. It's a definite opportunity for you to do that. If you have some trouble with the endurance phase, again, can't get things going your way and you want to change the pace, use standard mode for the endurance missions because you're going to get XP and credits that much faster, but then switch over to AI for the shakedown. All right, so 1 battle. We're already on the board. Wound up topping the leaderboard. It's always fun. Let's pop out. Now our next step is 800,000 credits. We want to remember to jump out and get into standard mode. And a ship I've been warming up in is DeGrasse. We're already set with a triple credit booster on DeGrasse. So I think we'll mix this up. I think this week we'll go with cruisers. Week 2 we'll run battleships. And week 3 we'll run DDs. Just to mix up each week. So if you do happen to make it to the Steel Redeemer streams, as we're knocking out objectives, we'll kind of mix up the gameplay this week. And hopefully not too soon, people will be running CVs. All depends on your perspective. I know there's people on the World of Warships Discord server that have been around for quite a long time. They're super excited about CVs. I, for one, am not as excited as probably as some others. But to each their own. Go. Let's get that screen enlarged. All right.
Battle starts.
Got Trident. Actually, I don't want to go deep into the A cap. That's going to put me on one side. I like to stay central as much as I can. So I'm going to work from A across B. It looks like most of my team is setting up BC anyway. So if you've watched any of my streams before, I don't like to be a cruiser that's out in front of my team getting focused by 4 or 5 ships. It's not a fun place to be, not a way to live long and prosper as a cruiser in Legends. So we'll talk about Benham as we're loading into the next game. She actually is a true legend. I know some of the ships in this game are now paper ships or were just planned, didn't actually exist. And the whole Legends moniker originally was supposed to mean that these ships were all pulled from history, not from plans. So Benham actually has a very cool history. Just gonna turn away from the A cap. There's that Gneisenau there. We don't want to be an easy target. Dancing on the edge here. We did get a little bit out in front. Probably got spotted first by the ships. The enemy ships in A and B. French cruisers have a pretty low gun arc, so you can see that I can't really fire over this island very effectively, whereas in a US cruiser that wouldn't be an issue. They have a much higher gun arc. But, oh, traffic jam. Let's see if we can get 2 ships for the salvo of 1. We're gonna want to signal out this Benson. He's trying to sneak. Ah, shot way behind him. I do like the low gun arcs on this ship for a warm-up game. There, we got a hit. My biggest thing is probably not leading out DDs enough. I've played a few games. Always seem to go a little faster than I expect. Team's doing a good job of focusing the Benson. Don't know for sure if they got torpedoes off or not. Oh, we just missed the kill. Alright, got an island we're going to contend with here, so we're going to loop back around. We are spotted and being targeted. That's the number by the eyeball symbol. So that we're not only being targeted, but we have, or spotted, but we have 1 ship targeting us. The number next to the eyeball icon. So we're going to loop back around. We're going to use our speed boost.
Engine boost
One of the
activated.
multiple tools in the toolkit of the DeGrasse. Makes her such a fun ship. Got another DD charging in. Unfortunately, we are down 3 ships already. It's at a bit of a disadvantage. Be the range. Yeah, we had the range, just didn't have the right depth on that shot. Got the transition off him to this closer DD. 61. Okay, team took him out. And we're taking fire from the left side. Low damage game so far, shooting at DDs and missing quite a few rounds. Keep working here.
Torpedoes to starboard.
Even games that start out slow can wind up being really good in the long run. Oh no, just outran it. That's the cool thing about the speed boost. Yeah, I don't want to give broadside to the spay. Hell, I haven't played for 3 days, eh? Game is a little bit tragic. Yeah, no, we took a Citadel hit from the Grosh Bay. And yep, ship carcasses will prevent your movement. We're being targeted by 4 ships, so.
The ship is on fire.
Our team completely melted. That would be why we're taking fire from both sides. But we got destroyed on the west side on the A cap. Now we're just going to go into damage accumulation mode for as long as we can survive.
The ship is on fire.
Life as a cruiser when you're getting focused from a crossfire is difficult. You don't have the hull armor to survive multiple hits. Again, my teammates are 2 DDs, so they're not going to be spotted, so the whole enemy team's going to be firing at me, essentially. Turn straight into the Gneisenau, which you may not be expecting. Nice to get a fire on him. We are very near death. Very close. Torpedoes off. I can't believe we're not toast already. Alright. Well, we got over 23,000 damage accumulated there. If we're lucky, the Gneisenau will forget that we have torpedoes. He continues on his same course and speed. We might pick up a few torpedo hits as well. So when a flank collapses like it did at A, I guess there wasn't that many initial ships that went to A, but quite a few ships rushed straight into the B cap. Again, in a cruiser, you're really fragile. You don't want to get focused by multiple ships. So dipping in and getting out, going dark, not firing if you need to basically lose detection for a period of time can be a good strategy. Those torpedoes missed. So you're a second line ship as a cruiser. You want to fire at distracted ships, not be the focus of their attention. So don't rush in. Don't try to cap in a cruiser initially. Let the destroyers do that first. Stay off at a little bit of range while you're supporting. And then destroyers don't need to die in a cap right at the start of the game. We had already, I think, lost 2 of our destroyers very early, so that does not help. Need destroyers alive to spot the enemy team and to harass the battleships, deny caps, all that good stuff. So if you get spotted in a cap, feel free to leave. Come back to it, retake it. You don't need to die in the first engagement of the game in a cap, which is a thing that I used to do way too much when I first started playing. Alright, let's go American. Don't need the Commander XP booster, I think, in this week's missions at all. So we're gonna go with Atlanta for the second step. That first game's not gonna be enough to get us 900,000 or 800,000 credits, sorry. But probably get us a couple 100,000. You can actually knock out 800,000 with a triple booster with Atlanta if you have a great game in Atlanta in just a single game. Alright, so if that's our warm-up, that and our AI game, let's see how we can do. It's going to be a very different strategy for playing Atlanta. We're going to play much closer to these islands and not out in open water. It's a good place to start is this edge here next to the A cap. Or further over here. Any of these 3 islands along the edge are decent places to start. And they're all relatively center of the map. If you take your cruiser way out on the edge or even your battleship, you may have a hard time flexing back to middle or to the opposite edge of the map. So I do like to start out kind of central and then wind up going to the side or flank that merits the most need for my team. Team's kind of splitting up evenly between A and C, which works for me. Destroyer going to A and to C, which is optimal for spotting. Kind of hard in these games when destroyers go to the same cap. Half the map is unspotted. We have torpedoes with Atlanta, so if we ping any of these ships, we can actually see which way they're traveling. Atlanta has super high gun arcs, so we can fire over things very easily. Near islands or far islands.
Enemy destroyer detected.
We're being spotted by an airplane, which is not optimal. Some fire on the Mutsu.
Look what I have created!
First fire.
I have been fire!
So we're gonna stack fire damage and alpha damage in Atlanta. And any American light cruiser, essentially. As well as do module damage, and see we knocked out his torpedo tubes. Being spotted by these planes, but his gun arcs are too shallow. He's going to hit the island if he fires at us, so he's kind of just in a bad spot right now. Hopefully we'll get some support from a teammate, but I'll start backing up here and working on the Scharnhorst. The Mutsu decides to come around the corner. I have torpedoes that I can use on him in self-defense. Try to figure out the angle of that Scharnhorst. Mitsu looks like he's going to keep coming. Gonna signal for help just to alert my teammates. Okay. Looks like he's gonna come around the corner. I can get my steering to work. Turn angle where I can get some torpedoes off. Tight fit here. Sometimes people forget that Atlanta has torpedoes. Fortunately, we're taking shots from behind as well as in front. Those torpedoes do their work, we can go ahead and proceed forward.
Main turret blown up.
Didn't quite do enough to sink him. So it looks like he's flooding, so let's go ahead and attack. He has torpedoes as well.
Torpedoes astern.
Ugh. Got caught from the Scharnhorst, came out of hiding. Alright, we got 53,000 damage. Kill. It's gonna be a good score regardless of win or loss. So we don't want to stick around for this whole game. So we'll go ahead and do one more credits run, more credits gain. Track of our number of games, that's 2. Okay. We didn't get any help or support. Everyone was so focused on the 2 flanking caps that no one really helped us with the middle, even though we pinged that ship. In a perfect world, we would get another ship that would have fired at him, maybe sunk him a little bit sooner. We wouldn't have had to come out of cover to attack him and expose ourselves to the Scharnhorst. All right. One more game for credits. Boise's already loaded up for credits, so let's go ahead and do that. Boise is a sister ship of the Helena, same class. But her damage is a little different. Her guns fire a lot slower. She doesn't have the same super high damage output of the Helena. Same number of guns, pretty similar shells, if not the same shells, and fire chance. But she can't output as much damage as quickly because she has a heal, and the Helena does not. And it's a pretty dang good heal. So it might be that we get our credits taken care of with that Atlanta game. This one,
Let's give them
if we have a
hard
halfway
time.
decent game at all, we'll get our credits mission knocked out for the week. On north, gonna want to find some cover.
Action stations.
One decent spot for cover in a cruiser is behind this rock.
Capture that area.
Why we started in reverse. From this spot, we can actually get fire on the C cap and the B cap. Our destroyers split up between the 3 caps. 1 per cap will have pretty good vision.
Need your support. Affirmative. I need support. Affirmative.
Okay, someone's driving their Roma from last week. I honestly haven't even outfitted mine yet. But good choice to get your missions completed in your premium ship.
Attention. Reporting the target position. Affirmative.
If we get a fire on the Roma. Again, we can get pretty good cover, pretty good concealment from this position. It's not getting lucky with actually getting damage. Got 6 hits with no damage. Love when that happens.
All stations, concentrate fire on the target.
Spotted by his plane, I think. We're on the ground. We're poking out a little bit more than we want to be.
The ship is on fire.
Was it New Orleans back there as well?
Sir.
There's the Roma. I'm just gonna duck back into cover. Hipper is kind of on the edge of our range on the opposite side. Again, this rock's gonna keep us covered from the Roma currently. Just kind of hanging the spot. Hipper's right on the edge of our range. Got a wow ×3. I think he'll use damage control. Don't normally get a triple fire. That is a bit rare. Ah, too bad we couldn't have got a second fire there. And we'll push up a little bit. The Roma was stuck on the rocks. His plane isn't up. And it's right there. If we don't go too far, we won't get spotted very easily. Bugaboo with Boise is she doesn't accelerate and reverse too quickly. Fire on the Yamagi. Roma is still there. Took some big hits, but this is where our heal comes in. New Orleans has come inside.
Concentrate fire on the target.
Hoping our rear guns still be able to get around the rock, but not quite. Issue right now is dang planes. If they didn't have airplanes up, we wouldn't be getting spotted so much. Nipper has stayed this side.
Our team has taken the lead.
Firing kind of blind, just trying to aim underneath his ship icon.
Concentrate fire on the enemy warship.
If we look at the mini-map, we can kind of see that right now he's basically bow into us.
Reporting the position of a strategic target. Affirmative.
But it's a bit of a guessing game. Okay, here's where those torpedoes came
All
from.
stations. Reporting the position of a strategic target.
Most likely. Just missing our destroyer targets. Barely missing. Not that time. 15 shells can do quite a bit of damage to a destroyer. So I've got this Roma completely preoccupied. He's not going anywhere. So hopefully he's missing out on attacking my teammates. So we're doing a good job of just kind of freezing him in place while we're denying this channel. It's gonna advance on us.
All stations. Reporting the position of a strategic target.
Question is whether we're gonna get any support again. We may not. Coming around the corner at us. Just gonna bow in, back away.
The ship is on fire.
Good, we do have some help over from our
Problem
right
solved.
side. He's actually not directly targeting us, which is fantastic, exactly how we like it. So we're gonna go to work trying to set fires.
Look what I have created! I have made fire!
All stations. Reporting the position of a strategic target.
Distracted battleships are great targets for cruisers. This is a very helpful play from my teammates to come in and challenge him. Get him in a brawling situation. Meanwhile, we're supporting our battleship friend, keeping him from accumulating too much damage. He gets the kill, which I'm totally fine with. We had been in a pretty exposed position without his help. So now the Hipper is rushing. They're kind of rushing one at a time. Hey, vegetarians. Thanks for your follow, man. Really appreciate it. Just working on our endurance missions for the week currently. Trying to grab our Benham this week. Well, this month. 4 to 5 weeks, I should say.
We've been spotted.
And just kind of walk through my strategy for doing the campaigns, how to stack as much bonuses as possible to get the endurance missions worked out as quickly as you can. And then some strategies for shakedown too, which kind of split up between AI mode and standard mode if you want. So this Hipper is kind of in the situation I was in last round, being a cruiser that's just getting focused by a whole bunch of folks. Not fun. He does have more armor than I did in my DeGrasse, but still not built to be focused down. Another fire. down to 2 DDs. Are you working on the current missions for this week? Alright, last spotted. Last spotted is DD to our left. Alright, now we know general direction. There's a data point. So A is not flipping. And if you're confused by my colors, vegetarian, I play in colorblind mode, so my icons are a little bit different color. My cap colors are different. The red and green icons are not my friend.
We've been spotted.
Okay, I've got another teammate that's been detected.
We've been spotted.
So we'll just look for the cap switching color, and obviously, yep, he probably fired torps and ran to A.
All stations, defend that area. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Area. So I'm just going to keep my bow pointed straight at the direction he's most likely bearing, so that way I'll be as skinny a target as possible to evade torpedoes.
Torpedoes, direct front.
Yep, as we're doing right now. 3 torpedoes, salvo.
Support the allied target.
Kagero, I think, has 3 racks. Fletcher has 2 on each side, or 2.
Defend that area. Roger.
So one thing he will likely do is try to ambush me as I come around this corner. So I will bear out a little bit.
Proceed to capture that area.
I don't want to go straight across the corner because it's just, again, classic ambush technique.
All stations, defend
And I am
that
gonna just heal up to full extent and go ahead and start my hydroacoustic or sonar 1. So it seems like he ran to the north side of the cap. We are spotted, so good chance he's on the edge now. Just take a little bit of a wider path. Change course. Things that frustrate destroyer players most are changing your course and your speed, so now that I'm on a wider angle around the corner, I'm going to go ahead and cut in and angle straight at this edge of the island where I would guess torpedoes might come from. And kind of a guessing game. All depends on where he exited the cap. And he's not in the cap area because we are turning the cap. If he were still in there, like on this edge, it would show contested. So yeah, he went off to the left.
Torpedoes, direct front.
Try to swing around this one. There we go. Alright. So I'm just going to head back into the cap. I'm not going to chase him, and I want to grab a cap because getting caps is really good for XP and credits. Definitely as good as a ship kill is capping, if not more valuable than his ship kill. Don't have the speed to chase him down. I know I'm still within his spotting range because I'm still spotted. So he's closer than 10 kilometers to me. And I'm not just going to chase him now out into this area when my hydro is down and give him the advantage.
Nice work. Roger.
Okay, we do have support now, so I will swing back out. Game counter is going to be over before too long here too. We have all 3 caps. he's probably running right around to the south of us. My guess his next attack will be on the battleship.
Torpedoes to starboard.
Well, he's now going north. All right, 46 seconds. It's either the game clock or the point counter.
Our victory is in sight.
Sometimes the end of a Warships game can be a little anticlimactic, but I'll take it when we're on the winning side. If I were him, I usually try to duck in and get some last minute damage rather than just running away. No value in staying alive, really, if you're not doing any damage. All right. One up top 5. Let's go and look at our mission progress really quick. Should be pretty close to the credits. Ah, missed it by 14,000. Less than 14,000. All right, so we can run any ship we want right now. We don't need to run a booster. This is going to be more of a game for fun than anything. So let's maybe mix it up a little bit. And take a look at tech tree. Now we'll jump in. Okay. Let's just run a DD for fun. Benson. Just double checking her stats. Whoops. Check my range. 9.2 on torpedoes and concealment 5.7. It's one cool thing about Benson. She has a big stealth torping range. 3 kilometers. Probably could have just jumped into co-op too, but would have been a quicker game, but that's okay. So Benham's pretty cool in that she has 4 sets of torpedo launchers that launch 4 each. I think that's the highest number of torpedoes, 16, that you can fire off at any one time of any US destroyer. She's a tier 9 on PC, so I'm not sure how they're condensing her down to a tier 6. She obviously has taken a few nerfs, but still going to be torpedo soup. Being able to get 8 off on one side, spin to the other side, and get another 8. I think the Mayhem class is what she's based on. So, be pretty interesting to play. Alright, let's check our team rosters. We are low tier, Northern Waters. So we're the middle DD, so basically we can support either cap, A or C. I'm going to choose C because there's a lot more island cover in C. Small islands that we can duck behind versus just the big moon-shaped island in A. 3 opposing DDs, just usually check what they are. Sasho, Akatsuki, and Z23. So detection-wise, we probably give up a little bit of detection range to each of those guys. So chances are we'll be detected first before we can see those DDs. Japanese usually have the best concealment. Germans and US are pretty similar. All-around DDs, guns, torpedoes, decent detection range. Japanese have lowest detection range and are mainly torpedo boats. On Legends, there are some Japanese gunboat torpedoes on PC. But we don't have them yet. I assume maybe we will at some point. Alright, so let's help the Moss. Cap C. Our torpedoes, again, are 9.2 kilometer range. They are pretty slow. So you're not going to sneak up on anybody with these torpedoes unless you drive up close and dump them in.
Enemy battleship sighted.
So we just have to set up some good angles for where we dump these torpedoes. Maybe catch the Richelieu as it runs across that channel. One more set. Okay, already grabbed a cap. Got the credits we need. The cool thing about the way they're setting up the missions in Legends is you don't need to win. You don't have to have a win condition to get your XP and your credits, but it obviously helps. So US destroyers have good guns too, so we can drive up close enough and the Moss is continuing to spot for us. We could go into smoke and use our guns. Not sure where that Richelieu went. Came this direction, so we're not going to get any torp hits on those first two salvos. Obviously wasn't happy about being spotted, bugged out. Moss is going to make a torpedo run on the Nagato. We have 30 seconds. And the whereabouts of the enemy EDs are not entirely known, which is kind of odd. I think we'd have spotted them by now. Now we lost a battleship already. No angling. Alright, I'm gonna switch my guns. Do one loop in closer on the Nagato. He's not traveling very fast right now, which I can tell. The fact that he has very little smoke coming out of his smokestacks. I think he's going to pick up speed, so I'm actually going to aim a little bit ahead of where the target indicator says to aim. And just kind of an odd game, not really seeing where their DDs are. We're going to smoke up and go to guns. He's backing up, so our torpedoes aren't going to hit him. But if he took torpedo damage and he has a flood, or had to fix a flood, we get a fire now, he's going to be in some serious doo-doo. He won't be able to put the fires out. Come on, Moss, can you spot?
Smoke screen set.
Richelieu coming opposite direction. Back to the Nagato. Gonna keep moving in the smoke, so I don't present an easy target. Okay, there's the fire we wanted. Wasn't able to repair it. Second fire, sweet. Gonna leave the smoke just because that Richelieu is pretty close by. Close enough for him to be spotting us, I think, based on our gun bloom. The value of the US destroyers that they're workable guns as well as torpedoes. Richelieu came really close. out of dodge.
Engine boost deactivated.
Alright, we got closed in. Originally we managed to dodge? Really? So while we were engaged and keeping our head down on that engagement, we were down already 3 ships. Our cap got overrun. But again, I only needed to get a small amount of damage to get my credit, so definitely prefer a win, but got what we needed out of that battle. And there wasn't going to be probably much we could do to carry either at that point. So we'll return to port. And our next mission will be for 10,000 ship XP. After modifiers, so we can use boosters to our advantage. Still haven't gotten first win on Atlanta, so go back to Atlanta. And that might be why I think I had a global XP booster on Atlanta and not a currency booster. Yeah. We would have finished one battle sooner. Oh well. Mission requirements are pretty easy this week, really, relatively. Okay, so now we need regular ship XP. Put a triple booster. So again, we hope to stack the 1.5x ship XP, first win bonus, triple booster, the benefits of premium time, and the benefits of being in a premium ship. All those boosts will multiply together to give us a higher score. Just running again the PC dockyard missions this week, and I think we had last week get 5,000 free XP for a week's worth of missions, and on the PC side it was 50,000 free XP. So it's about tenfold less the requirements for our missions on Legends. So again, you really can't lose trying to complete these campaigns. Alright. Sleeping Giant. A-cap is a little bit of a trap. Much easier to get into than it is to get out. If I go over on the other side of this island and get into the open area in B, it can be the same thing. I may not be able to turn out when I need to. Multiple cruisers are going straight in there, which if we have a really strong play, could be great. But it could also mean these guys getting focused and taken out very early.
Good luck and fair seas.
Then we'll lose on the same kind of steamroll as we have in the last couple games. I guess the last game we won 2 games ago. So there is a spot here between the B and C cap where you can get fire on C, you can get fire on B. That's where we will head. Support this push into B without being directly exposed to it. At least the Wichita that's heading in has some armor. Helena, not super advised to be making that push. Armor is pretty squishy. So we're setting up basically as a second line ship. And I'd normally go to the D side, but we are so thin at D, I'll get overrun if I take that position, so just gonna try to join in on the assault we have going here into B and hope that because I'm back line I don't get immediately focused. We'll tell if a number pops up next to our spotted indicator, whether we're getting focused or not. I'm gonna call for focus fire on this Wichita. Focus fire is just when multiple teammates all fire at the same target at one time to burn them down. People love shooting Atlantas, so we're already being targeted. That was probably our Helena that went already. Angle away, make a skinnier target. It's already not worked to a great extent. Ugh. And we hit the island by just barely. Yep. Fortunately, we have the Odin firing at us. Turn stern in. Odin and Helena. Can't get out of detection range. We're too close, so really no reason not to continue firing. Battleship helped push them though. Let's not run into the island again, eh? He's poking out. Hell, he's pretty much going to duck straight back in by the direction of his smoke. Ugh. So you can see this is only a 5v5 match too. So looks like there's a couple enemy ships that went C, at least one. So we're gonna have to watch this corner. Reposition. It's not a ship that we're gonna want to make a frontal assault on these two guys on, and we only have 4,000 hit points, so to play this a little bit cautiously. Yeah, I know. This can't get shot.
Concentrate fire on the target.
And our Odin has way less health in there, so it's not looking too good. Yeah, and that's about that. All we can do is, again, try to get in some endgame damage. Odin's probably going to take us out with this salvo. So we're short range guns, and we really need cover to thrive, and when our team rushed in a completely exposed position like that, we had to close with them to be in range of where the enemy ships were, but you don't want to be open water in Atlanta too early, where you wind up getting targeted as a priority. So would have been better if we had sat back, let them come into us, where I could have stayed behind cover and been able to fight most effectively. So if I had stayed back originally while my team pushed in, then I wouldn't have been able to help, and would have been the same result. I just would have died later. So didn't help us being in a small 5v5 matchup that time. Alright, so we know we're going to need another credits game for sure. So let's pick a ship where we're still going to be able to get our first win bonus. We've already knocked that out in Boise. So let's jump over to Belfast. We're already set credits. Let's take the credits off. That on ship XP. Whoops. All right. Sometimes you don't really have a choice but to follow your team in. Or else again, I could have hung back, been out of main battery range, and just seen my teammates die, and then had 3 or 4 ships come and try to 3v1 me, and that would have been the same result. We got a little bit of damage in. Open water, I will take a Helena over in Atlanta every day just because the guns are higher damage. Obviously a lot more hull protection than in an Atlanta. Atlanta was an anti-aircraft cruiser, which is really just an oversized DD, honestly. Alright, back to a standard size game. 9v9. We're high tier, we're on neighbors. So Belfast is kind of a mix of the last couple ships we've been playing. She can fight in open water, but she's not the fastest and most nimble. That's why she's equipped with a smoke consumable. So she can use terrain, but she can't fire over islands with cliffs as steep as the, say, Atlanta or Helena can. She has to sit a little further back off island terrain. In open water, she can find an area that's set up within her main battery range and use her smoke, which is pretty long lasting. So I kind of like to go into this spot to start where I have concealment from a couple islands. Tucking behind this island right here is usually not a bad starting spot. And Ashitaka is going to be coming. She's actually leaving our main battery range.
Enemy battleship sighted.
Since she's turning away, I'm not going to use my smoke quite yet. It's going to run. Turn away and kite. Ashitaka used their damage control. So if I can get one more fire, that fire will stick and burn for the duration of the recharge. Yes, that's what we wanted.
Sweet.
So that second fire will accumulate quite a bit of damage for us. And if there wasn't an airplane, I would have been remaining undetected. I'm just watching the Ashitaka's gun, see if she's aiming at me.
Teammate, I need your support.
Oops, got a battleship on the other side, so I'm gonna smoke up.
Smoke generator started.
Seal ourselves from the Ismail. Now we'll just rinse and repeat on this side. See if we can get fires on the Ismail.
Smoke screen set.
Just like when I'm in a DD, I'm gonna just move back and forth a little bit in my smoke screen. Now we burn down the Ashitaka.
Yes.
The Ismail is headed straight into the island. Oh man, he got wasted. Yeah, struck by the Colorado.
Taking the lead. Nice work.
Okie dokie, we're off to a quick start. No use staying in my smoke screen at this point because there's no targets.
Forces, capture that area. I need intelligence data.
Yeah, we all do. So we know there's a destroyer or a smoke cruiser. They have a Belfast too. So one of those smoke screens is a destroyer and one is a cruiser. Looks like the Belfast is back in this area based on the shells coming out of that smoke.
Set a smoke screen. All stations, concentrate requesting assistance.
And the Dallas was sharing her smoke.
Enemy destroyer sighted.
So we can get shells over this island.
Spotted.
Just gonna lead out the Dallas as they try to move. Target us as well. Stay on the move. So we have a 3-ship lead. No one has a cap yet.
Reporting the position of a strategic target.
No battleships in our near vicinity that we have to worry about at this moment. They seem to all be out at the A cap. So again, when you take a big chunk of your battleships all the way out to a wide flanking cap, it just takes them a while to recover and get back central. So not going to worry about them so much as trying to isolate and destroy these cruisers and destroyers right now. I don't even have the range. Hit those guys. I do have the range to hit the Pensacola.
I need intelligence data. All stations, concentrate fire on the target.
Okay, we wound up resetting the A cap
That's how it's
and
done.
helping to capture the B cap. Both really good for XP. Oh crap. We're gonna take some torpedoes. Oh no!
Full breach. We're taking on water quickly.
That was completely my bad. I saw the Fubuki that side. I thought he had moved out towards A, and I totally got suckered.
I need intelligence data.
That was my bad. No one else's. Alright. So I basically just should have pointed my bow where I had last seen the Fubuki instead of going sideways in my smoke. I set up kind of perfectly for him to hit me broadside. So that's just a tired mistake. If I had angled my bow facing this direction, I probably would have only taken one torpedo, but got a little greedy looking at that Pensacola. Alright. Jump out of there and check where we are at with regard to XP, though I think we're going to need to play a few more games since it's 10,000 XP. Yeah, we're at 1,500. Got off to a good start in the Belfast with killing that Ashitaka, but just fell asleep at the switch. Okay. Give Wichita a try. Work our way up the cruiser line and then maybe run a few BBs if we keep going that long. Okay. Don't need a credit booster, so take that off. Run the ship XP booster. I'm using Norman Scott on all my US cruisers. Number one, I want to have basically the number of ships targeting me lit up by my spotted icon, my detected icon, at all times in a cruiser. So it's so vital to know when you're being targeted so you can take evasive action, change course, change speed, duck behind terrain, or decide when to stop firing so your guns go silent and your detection drops back down to your base detection range. So Norman Scott has that in the armed and ready skill, which I think is a 3rd tier skill. Other commanders have that as a first tier skill, which is called Ingenious. But I always want that on any cruiser commander that I'm using. So Norman Scott is my primary commander, though there is at least one other one in the US line that has the detected skill. Okay, Tears of the Desert. Not a legendary tier game, but we're with tier 7, so we're going to have to be aware of that. It's battleship heavy game. Goodness, 5 battleships out of 9. Wichita's armor is a little better than some of the other US cruisers, but basically have to be bow in to take advantage of that. She's not going to hold up against focus fire from battleships, really. So I'm going to watch where my team's going. I'd like to support this wide edge of A, but doesn't look like I have friends coming that way. So I'm probably just going to loop back around and support B and C. Battleships look like they're taking the inside path to A, and I just don't want to be the only ship out there by myself. In case there's a push at A, then I'll get focused and I won't last long. Support is really just having a battleship or two behind you that will help deter enemy ships from overrunning your position. So if you're unsupported here, even at this island, you might have cover initially, but as the enemy ships come through this channel, if there's nothing to make them turn away, no threat of damage, and you're gonna get overrun. And in a US cruiser, I don't have torpedoes, so don't have a close range defense like you do in other cruiser lines. Mixed bag tonight for sure. Some good games and some difficult games. The Wichita, then we're going to prioritize the DD. Whoops. Just trying to call out the DD.
Enemy cruiser sighted.
Concentrate fire on the enemy warship.
Had a bad time the last 24 hours not getting sunk by torpedoes on this game, and I played some games in PC and just made some stupid battleship mistakes. Big broadside salvos of torpedoes, so it's just been a day for that for me. Ooh, there's the Atlanta. I'd like to get him out. There's at least the Wichita, another battleship on that side. I don't want to give broadside too long to that side of the map. I'm gonna turn out.
Get back.
Okay. Turn back to starboard. Get some fire on the Odin. Possibly get a fire on him. Cool thing about Norman Scott's legendary skill that I've selected is it's a reload boost all the time, and then when you're within a certain distance of your friendly ships, you get a range boost as well, which is really cool. This Bismarck is way out on his own. Like I was saying, I didn't want to be in the A cap. He decided to go C and try to cap in a battleship all by himself, so he's just going to get focused and nuked by 2 battleships and a destroyer. So now we're down 2 already. It's one of those nights. Not a whole lot you can do to prevent that in a cruiser early game. It's less than 5 minutes into the game. Some teammates can't be saved. back around to center. Try to get fire on the Odin and the Bismarck. A lot of our shells are breaking. Try to be as difficult to target as I can so they get frustrated with shooting at me and shoot at the battleship, which is a more static target. Grief. Yeah, he's pointing his guns now towards the battleship. Just missing. Getting close enough now. Odin's a little faster than most battleships. German battleships have higher top speed. Odin doesn't have a ton of armor, smaller guns, so speed and maneuverability is one of her advantages. And her torpedoes. Just not leading her enough. Played Wichita a lot since the Wichita campaign. Every set of guns is a little different. There we got our fire finally. Odin is still just dialed in on the battleship in front of her, so I guess there's two. Fire on the back of the ship. We could set an additional fire on the front of the ship if we can dial in that section that's not burning. It's finally turning away from us. Okay. Bit of a comeback. Up by a ship. So we have radar, so now they're getting in mid to late stage of the game, mid phase here. Get in a more central position to help support our battleships that are pushing. We are spotted right now with no visible ships, so we know we have a destroyer probably somewhere close by. Oh my goodness, don't take another full rack of torpedoes. Take one, okay. Make that 3. Oh my god. I give up tonight. He was not spotted. Damn. Not my night. Let's see where he was at. Ah, he's smoked up now. Good play by him. Just hadn't been detected for quite a while. I was starting to turn away, and I probably should use my radar since I was spotted, but I saved it, and that was a mistake. Now he's gonna get hits on this Richelieu too. Yeah, well played. Okay. We're gonna play one more. Brain is just too tired making too many of the same mistakes. Let's jump back to Belfast. Oh no, we got our win in the Belfast, so don't need to play her again. Let's see how we did in that battle. Mixed bag tonight. Really mixed. Well, we managed 200,000 credits, 5,500 XP just off that one game in Belfast. It wasn't a fantastic game. See, we finished low, but we got that early kill, got a decent amount of damage, and got good XP. So where does that put us? Play one more game. 7,000 plus the game we were just in. Probably need one more decent win. We'll be past that. Ship XP and just have to get 900 global XP to finish for the week. This is just, these missions are cake for endurance this week. Much easier than last month. Okay. Back into standard. And still need to get a win on Atlanta, so let's try to finish strong on Atlanta, get a good game under our belt. I don't recommend playing tired, especially in cruisers. Battleships, you can get away with it a little bit more, but I have been tired all day, didn't get a ton of sleep last night, and it's definitely affected my situational awareness for the entire day's worth of games on PC and on Legends. Yeah, Benham's story is pretty cool. She it's actually an escort on the Doolittle raid. We struck back with launching B-25s off the carrier Hornet, I believe, to hit Tokyo. And those bombers basically flew onto China, most of them crash landing because there was no way they could come back and land on a carrier. And she, I think, rescued over 700 sailors at the Battle of Midway, sinking of Yorktown and one other vessel. Participated in a couple other battles, Second Battle of Guadalcanal, and shortly after that took a long-lance torpedo to her bow, broke her bow off. I think after 12 or 15 hours of trying to damage control, they had to let her go. So it's cool that we have a chance to win an actual naval legend in this campaign. Alright. Fault line. How much support do we have? We're gonna have a DD to spot. Looks like our battleship is gonna hang with us. We're higher tier this time.
Concentrate fire on the
We're high
target.
tier ship. So with support, I'm gonna take up a position here. I'm not gonna go all the way into cap. We are gonna get spotted by enemy DD, which just happened. I'm gonna go ahead and use a radar this time. Why not?
All stations, concentrate
There's a
fire on the
Gepard.
target.
Damn you French DDs, your mobility. Okay, gotta hit him with our back turrets.
Destroyer detected.
You don't want to run all the way in front, do you? If I could aim tonight, that'd be helpful too. Which way he's gonna run? Split the difference and just fire straight over him. He bobs and weaves. Hopefully get some shots in on him. There we go. Got his steering. He already damage controlled. He's gonna be stuck in a turning circle now. Looks like it might be the case. Raising him. Come on. Alright, we got him as a team. That's what counts. Okay, they're heavy pushing B with battleships, which isn't super common this early in the game. If I set up here on this Gneisenau, hopefully I can get behind this island. He keeps pushing forward. He's going to push straight into my position. As long as I'm not sticking out more than halfway, I won't get detected. I might even be able to fire over these islands in front of me. It's the advantage of Atlanta's main battery arcs. Full fire, because he's looking my way. And And I'm just not leading anything out sufficiently tonight. It's pretty apparent. A little more distance between us and this island so we can fire up over it. There we go. Fire's still burning. Good battleship player won't put out the first fire typically, because they know if they put out that first fire and get set on fire again, the second fire is going to burn a lot longer. Still able to hit him. We have no mountain icon. Still sideways to us. Spotted. Who's spotting us now? Right, DD is pushed forward. That was the Monahan. Right, let's push central. It's kind of speculative, just trying to predict the path of the Zara. Not going to be an easy shot.
Enemy cruiser detected.
Same Buki from last game. Need some revenge. Doubt it. We are spraying and praying tonight. Zara is coming in. Not sure why they want to come straight into cap area when there's this many ships still in play. More of a later gameplay. That's better. Italian cruisers have really long range torpedoes, so we have to be aware of that. 9 kilometers. Looks like we were overrun at A.
Turret critically damaged.
Few more of our shots on target now. See if we can work on this Dallas. More lead. Cruiser's definitely going to need more lead.
Enemy destroyer sighted.
Okay. I'm going to help with the Dallas and I'm going to circle back. Get up and over this island.
Roger.
Torpedoes coming from somewhere. Probably directly behind us. If our DDs are smart and don't fire and get detected. Really need them to live right now. No reason for that. The Buki to be firing. It's a little more predictable path. Easier aiming. Okay. Job team. Up by 1 ship. circle back. We have multiple battleships alive here. Hopefully he doesn't take torps. Both their DDs are that side, kind of the ACAP side. So we want to help support with burning down these battleships while they're engaged by our battleship. That guy's now, we had set him on fire at least once earlier, so he was looking pretty low on hit points. We have a way to close distance. He'll probably get taken out by the Fuso first, where we can reach. We'll just start heading middle. Don't show him broadside Fuso and you'll be fine. Actually gonna turn in towards us. Cool, we got one of their DDs. We'll get over here, and just by the time we get over here, that Fuso will kill him, watch. Always happens. Alright, so we know that other DD was in the ACAP.
Requesting assistance.
Yep, I gotcha.
Affirmative.
So once we're spotted, I'll wait a little bit, maybe 10 or 15 seconds, and I'll pop radar. Actually, this Ismail I can hit. I have no mountain icon. That means I can shoot up and over the island. Doesn't look like I can, but I can. Both their battleships are
All
pushing
stations,
at.
reporting the position of a strategic target.
Oops, I need to select him. Hopefully they stay occupied with the battleship in front of their face. Skilled player might try to take me out first. Yeah, I'd expect the DD to be ambushing while the battleship is distracted. But I think he's got a good angle to survive those torpedoes. Our DDs are closing in on where their DD probably is at, so maybe they can counter spot. Okay, I've got a good angle here to basically use the island as cover. And get fire on these battleships if they decide to continue to push. Right now, it looks like they are. Trying to aim at the upper half of the ship. Shells that I put onto the armor belt are just going to break. There we go. Yes! That's fine. So he repaired that fire, so the next fire is going to stick. That fire immediately. They kill our battleship. So we're likely to get targeted here shortly, but we're close to being able to burn him down. A few of our shells are breaking, unfortunately. We took care of the other DD, so don't have to worry about a DD ambush. Come on. Get proper lead. They are varying their speed a little bit, which is smart. Yeah, battleships hate Atlanta, that is for sure. But when we're side onto a battleship like that, we're actually going to take a lot of overpen damage. There is a chance that they'll get your citadel, but stay side on. A lot of times the shells just go straight through your hull and do overpen damage, which is like 1/10 of what the citadel hit would be. Pretty good damage game this round. Sit right here on this corner if he's slowing down. He's going to take a broadside salvo from our battleship here very shortly, too. Yep. And there she goes. So that was a good finish. That was our toughest goal in endurance. 900 global XP is the 4th step, and that will be relatively easy. $7,500 XP just off that game. 1 kill, but 10 fires. And just to double check. Yep, global XP will be our last step in endurance trials, then we'll move on to shakedown trials. Again, which we won't use our boosters, and we won't worry about premium ships. We'll just play whatever ships we do well in to knock out these individual goals. And we can complete, actually they are standard battle only, so I was saying earlier, AI battles are a good way to knock out these targets if they're allowed, but it will be standard battles only this time, so we will venture toward that tomorrow. All right, well, thanks guys for joining tonight. Really appreciate it. If you're still around, you want to drop a follow, that'd be amazing. Really appreciate it. But otherwise, be back on maybe tomorrow night since I'm having a bit of a vacation week. My kids are out of school, so might get a chance to jump on tomorrow night, but definitely on Friday night we'll be on, and on Saturday. So by then we'll just be running, on Saturday for sure, just running ship lines and trying to grind out some tier 6s and tier 7s. But tomorrow night and Friday night we'll be finishing up the shakedown missions. So thanks a lot. Really appreciate you joining in, and talk to you soon. Bye.